Welcome to another episode of Wolf Talk. Today we've got professional boxer ELLIOT WHALE on. How's it going, mate?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Obviously, I had my fight last weekend, so on a little bit of downtime, spending time with the family, and yeah, just resting up.
Another good win, another step forward. How you feeling after that win?
Yeah, I feel good. To be honest, when that fight got made, a lot of people was like saying how tough that Tom Hill is, and it's a good fight and whatever. And it was meant to be an 8 round. I think moved down to six, so I was expecting quite a tough one. To be fair, you know what I mean. But after the first round, I sort of got my groove, got my rhythm, and ended up making the fight a little bit easier than what I thought it was going to be.
Obviously, your last couple of fights have been on a bit bigger stage, but before that,
Yeah.
you seem to have been struggling to get the bigger fights. How come?
Uh, well, so when I first turned pro, I was with MTK, and then obviously they got forced out of boxing, and then I ended up signing a contract with someone else, and just delayed my career a little bit. Do you know what I mean? I was getting lied to basically, and led on a little bit. So I was out of the ring for like 18 months. I was going to retire, to be fair. Then what was it? Yeah, I had my little boy. My little boy was born, and then I had 4 months of doing nothing. Then an old coach that I know from the amateur days, Shiny, he's like on the England team, and he took me to Italy before he reached out to me, and then I just thought like, let me give this boxing another go. Really, I'm going to give it a go, and I mean, I feel like I can go quite far. And to be honest, in the time that I was having off, like I was just like doing stupid things. You know what I mean? Just being like every other normal lad. You know what I mean? And going out and partying and just being a bit of a div. And I just thought one day, like, what am I doing with my life? You know what I mean? Like, I've actually got a talent here that I can go and do something with. Um, so then I made the move to the Midlands. And yeah, obviously when I first went, there, I was on the small hall shows. So when you have to sell tickets to fight, so that was quite tough. You know what I mean? Financially, not the best. You know what I mean? It's really hard to earn money. And then I thankfully signed with Gold Star, Spencer Brown, and then we got the deal with Boxer. So that's why now we're on the bigger stage. You know what I mean? But yeah, when I first come back, it was a little bit tough, but we got through it.
Until then, it looked like you'd been finding it hard to get people to actually fight you. It looked like you was being avoided. It's written everywhere, and you can see
Yeah,
why.
yeah.
What
Now, of course, I think I am. Well, I know I'm avoided. Do you know what I mean? The amount of people that we've offered the fight to, and they just say no, or do you know what I mean? It's crazy. Even now, like in the Midlands, I'm struggling to get sparring. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. Like people don't want to spar you unless they're fighting a southpaw. There's only like a little handful of people that actually are game to spar. You know what I mean? Other than that, it's a nightmare to get sparring. Like for this last one, we had to go back down to London and spar in London. You know what I mean? So yeah, bit mad, but hopefully I keep winning and put myself in positions where they have to fight me.
are you still traveling it to train, or have you moved now?
What?
Because you was
Nah.
travel.
So yeah. So what I do is I train up in the Midlands and I stay up in digs up there. Then I come back for the weekend. But obviously now I'll probably have like another couple of weeks at home, then go back up there and hopefully get some fight news soon.
And take you back to the start of it. When did you first get involved with boxing, and why did you first get involved with it?
Yeah. So I started when I was seven. Obviously, I'm 28 now, so I've been doing it a long, long time. And I went with a couple of mates from my football team. They started going. I'm not sure why they started going, but maybe just to get fit for football. And then my dad thought it would be a good idea if I joined them. You know what I mean, with them. And then was doing boxing and football, and I got to about 13, and I realised that I'm not actually that good at football. You know what I mean? So let me stick with the boxing, and hopefully, hopefully, in the long run, it's the right choice.
Was it something you fell in love with straight away, or was it something you went and then it grew on you?
No, straight away. As soon as I walked through the doors, that was crazy. I was at my amateur gym from 7 till 21 till I turned pro, and I remember like it was in the Erith, which is the area around mine, and you had to go up to like all these stairs, and the closer you get to the boxing gym, you could hear like I don't know the skipping ropes or people running around hitting the bags, whatever. You know what I mean? And then you get in the gym, and it's had that like dirty boxing gym smell. You know what I mean? Like, and I just think this is mental. This is like straight away, and then there was a coach there called Steve Rhodes, who sadly passed away now. He's been dead a good few years now. But when he was in the gym, he was one of the trainers, and he had like a heavy Irish accent, and he used to pad me, and I was only young, and he used to pad me, and he'd be like, he used to say like, "You're going to be a world champion," you know what I mean? I remember just, I don't know if he was just like, you know what I mean, just waffling to try and keep me like engaged. But I remember going home, and I used to go home and think, "I'm gonna be a world champion," you know what I mean? He thinks I'm going to be a world champion, and yeah, just sort of loved it from the get go. Then, to be honest, as I've got older, it's become a love hate relationship. Do you know what I mean? But as a kid, I loved it, and I'm starting to get well, I've got the love back for it now. But there's times in life where you start to get fed up with it. You know what I mean?
What was it like through the amateurs and going on early fights and stuff?
Yeah. I think I won my first 7. I thought I was the boy, you know. I thought I was really good, and I boxed a good kid. To be fair, he had I think he had 413 or something like that. But he was a good kid, and he ended up beating me on my home show. And I remember just going back in the back crying my eyes out. And but yeah, to be fair, it was good. You know what I mean? Like, I got to travel the world through boxing. I had 108 amateur fights. I won 83 of them. Boxed for England about 10 times. I had a decent amateur career, but I feel like I probably underachieved a little bit. I used to get beat when it mattered. Do you know what I mean? I'd get beat in the finals. I only won one title. I used to get beat in finals and semi-finals and things like that. But um, overall, I think it put me in good stead for the pro game.
And do you think when you turned pro, do you think you're more suited to the pro game, or did you like the amateurs
Yeah,
well?
no, I like the amateurs, definitely like the amateurs. But as I was turning senior, I started developing a bit more in my strength and things like that. And to be honest, when I was a senior, from about 18 to 20, only 3 years, I've done 2 years at under 64 kilos, and then my last one was at under 69s. And that 3 year period, pretty much every fight, I was giving people 8 counts, or even if I was losing, I'd drop them. Do you know what I mean? Or I was developing like some decent power, and I always thought I'm a little bit more suited to the pros, and I'd lose. I used to lose the first round in the amateurs, and then you're always playing catch up. Do you know what I mean? A little bit of a slow start or whatever, and you only got 3 rounds. I always knew I'd be better as the rounds go on, and I feel like I'm proving that anyway. Like, that last fight there was a 6 round fight, but I'm not a 6 round fighter. Do you know what I mean? I'm ready to go. I'm a 10, 12 round fighter.
I watched you, not your last fight, your fight previous to that. There was a lot of
Yeah,
controversy, people pulling out and that. Uh,
yeah, yeah.
do you reckon he bottled it?
Of course he did. Of course he did, man. I'll tell you what it was. I don't think he's scared to fight me, because he's been in there with like, beat Adrian Broner. He's been in there with some good fighters. But what it is, it was all a little bit rushed. So we were meant to fight on that show, and it was actually Ashley Hills was the original opponent that we was meant to fight. Um, and then obviously Ben Shalom, the promoter, he didn't really fancy that fight, I don't think. And obviously he's got a relationship with Chris Eubanks, manager Napa, and sort of they was persistent of getting the Blair Cobbs fight. They offered us Blair Cobbs instead. And again, like I've always said, I'll fight anyone. Do you know what I mean? So I can't be saying that, and then when they name a fight like him, say no. Do you know what I mean? So obviously we said yes. We had a little watch of him, said yes. And to be honest, like, Boxer had to, because he ain't thought he was a bit inactive. Boxer had to get him a run out in Mexico in a 4 rounder. They then had to I don't know if they paid him for that, but they had to sort all that out for him. Do you know what I mean? And then they got him over it. They done his medicals, like Baz was saying, they had to do his medicals. They got him over it uh, to fight me. And I don't know. I feel like he must have thought, or I don't know if they were saying it. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know if they thought, if he thought it was going to be an easy win, or I only had 13 fights at the time, or 12 fights at the time. Um, sorry, mate. And I don't know if it thought it was going to be a bit of a pushover. Then obviously when we got there, we had to do the media day. Basically, every time I see him, he kept like coming over to me, shaking my hand and being respectful. Then when we do the head-to-head thing, or like the bit where we're sitting down, and then he was piping up. Then after he'd pipe up, he'd come back to me when the cameras were off and shake my hand and apologise and blah blah blah. And I'm thinking, what's this guy doing? You know what I mean? This is weird. This, you know what I mean? Like, and then he sort of he said something, and I said, mate, like, we're gonna fight in a couple of days. Like, do you know what I mean, we're gonna do a good fight. That's it. You ain't got to keep like sizing me up sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Or like it was just a bit. What he kept doing was just a little bit weird. So I just said that, and then when we was going to do the final face off, his manager come up to me, tapped me on the shoulder, and was like, he wants you to push him. I said, I ain't doing that, mate. Like, I don't do that. You know what I mean? He's like, no, he wants you to push him. He'll get clickbait. I said, I ain't here for clickbait. I fucking want to fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't do all this shit. I'm a real fighter. And then I think when I didn't push him, which obviously he was expecting me to push him and be like a WWE sort of turn at, I feel like when I didn't do that, and then he realised that he's actually got a hard fight. I'm not saying that I'm not saying he's scared to fight me, but I feel like he probably didn't have enough time to prep for it, where it was so rushed. And then he realised that I'm actually here to not dance to his tune. I'm here to turn up and fight. Um, I think he pulled a moody sickness and said that he had food poisoning. But we see him in the hotel, like walking about, or we'd see him in the town walking about. It was just weird. You know what I mean? Like if you got food poisoning, you're being sick and shitting, ain't you, for a couple of days? Like
You ain't leaving
you
your
know what I
room, are
mean?
you?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? You're not leaving your room, and I just feel it was a bit dodgy. I just wondered he thought he didn't have enough time to prepare for me, because I feel like he probably thought it was going to be a bit easier than what it was, or when he realised that I weren't there to do the fucking WWE sort of shit. You know what I mean? I'm a real fighter. I ain't into all that. You know what I mean? So that's why. Because I think in the new year, like this year earlier, they offered us to fight again. But to be honest, I said no this time because I said I'll fight him, but he needs to go and do something. Go and fight someone from the UK. Go and actually do something. He don't deserve the opportunity to fight me because I'm not saying that I'm like bigger than what I am or anything like that. But if my manager didn't keep Ashley Hills on the show, I might not have boxed. You know what I mean? Or would have gone from co-main event to fucking 4 o'clock when no one's there. Like Levi Gills, he was boxing Frankie Stringer. And because of Frankie Stringer's medical or something like that, it was out of his hands. It was out of his control, to be fair. He had to get pulled off the show. So Levi Gills went from being on BBC Two to starting like fighting on the first opening bell or whatever. And if I'd have gone from co-main event to that or not fighting, and then my kids wouldn't have had a good Christmas. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't feel like he deserved the opportunity to fight me again for doing that. Like I don't know why they'd even want to entertain that anyway as a company. Like he could have ruined the show there. You know what I mean? Because if he pulled out, or he did pull out, and we didn't have Ashley Hills, two of the main fights on TV would have been ruined. You know what I mean? So I'm not too sure why they even offered us that fight again. But let's
Yeah.
see what happens.
A friend of mine, Ashley Eels, so he stepped in.
Yeah.
And you had a good performance against Ashley.
Yeah,
Did really well. So it worked out in the end. And then
yeah, of course.
obviously you've had your last fight, which is another good step up. So what's the plan
Yeah,
going forward if everyone keeps avoiding you?
yeah. Well, I don't know really. It's not down to my team really. Like unless I get made mandatory for certain belts, then it's down to my management team, Spencer Brown, but obviously BCB Errol, Spencer Brown, and Ben Shalom to work together as a team and get me the right fights for my career. Do you know what I mean? I would love if I could choose now. I feel like the best fights for my career would either be to fight Ursu for the British and Commonwealth title. Obviously, he's a champion. You know what I mean? He's a good fighter, but I feel like I'm at the stage now where I deserve that sort of shot, that opportunity at that belt, or I'm going to keep a close eye on Jack Rafferty versus Echo Esserman because they're fighting for the belt that I should have boxed Blair Cobbs for.
Yeah.
And I feel like at this stage of my career, both of them fights are good fights for my career. So hopefully we can get them one of them two.
Obviously said you're a straightforward guy. You just want to get in there and fight. None of the WWE
Yes, yeah,
shenanigans. Do you reckon in today's boxing, do you reckon that's hindered your progress?
definitely, yeah, definitely, 1,000,000%. Because obviously it's the entertainment business, but obviously my entertainment's my fighting. I believe I've got a fan friendly style. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I failed if I go points. I feel like I failed. I like knockouts, and I bring that sort of bit to my game. But the thing that I don't bring is the bravado, the everything. Like that fight with Ashley Hills, it went viral, and it went viral for the wrong reasons. Really, it didn't. It went viral not because of my boxing skill or the fact that I got the knockout or whatever. It went viral because of what he done at the ceremonial weigh-in. You know what I mean? And then now, because of the way he acted there, um, and then I got the job done how I did. They can make these little clips and edits, and it went viral for that. Like, it's mad. It's mad that I don't know, like the average Joe, they'd rather see that than the actual boxing. You know what I mean? Which is mad to me,
It's the
but
world we live in, isn't it, at the moment?
yeah, it's crazy. Like people like that sort of stuff. And to be honest, it was a bit of an eye opener when that did go viral. Like they made a couple of clips that got like 2.5 over 2.5 million views, and when I seen that, then I thought, oh, I need to try and I don't know. I need to try and not do that because it's not me to act like how Ashley acts. It's not how I am. You know what I mean? But I need to try and engage in other things and maybe get my social media out there a little bit more and just do little things because you need to have the full package. And I'm slowly getting there. You know what I mean? I'm slowly getting there. So hopefully that opens a few more doors as well.
I think if you get your social media going, that's going to help. But I think if you just
Yeah,
carry on with the way you are and the way you box, getting in there, getting the job done, going for the knockouts, you're going to gather fans all along the way because that's what
yeah,
people want
definitely.
to watch.
Yeah, that's what people want to see. They want to see knockouts, and it's evident that that's what I bring to the table. You know what I mean? And to be honest, it helps as well. Like people, Dave Allen, he's always on Instagram and he's bigging me up on his like podcast, and my name's slowly getting out there a little bit more. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like more and more fans that don't personally know me are starting to realise that I'm a good fighter, and they're starting to tune in a little bit.
What's the ultimate goal for you? What do you want to reach? What do you want to achieve?
World champion, man. I want to be a world champion. I'd love to be able to. I don't know, like obviously some people they turn pro and they've got like, oh, I want the green belt or I want, you know what I mean, WBC, WBA. Well, I haven't really got a specific belt in mind, but I just want to become a world champion. I mean, that's what I'm in this game for. I want to become a world champion and earn as much money as I can for give my kids a better life. You know what I mean? And give them a better a start in life or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And if I could, I'm big enough to go up through the weights and then see if I could achieve multiple world titles at different weights. You know what I mean? I'd like that. Um, obviously, there's a there's smaller goals that I need to achieve along the way. And to be fair, I'm in this boxing game to test myself. Do you know what I mean? I like to test myself and try and fight the best and try and fight the best opponents that I possibly can. Like if you look down on my box rank, I don't fight too many journeymen. When I first started, when I was 2-0, my third and fourth fight, I fought two undefeated fighters. My seventh fight, I fought Darren Tetley. Um, and I feel like slowly my the kids I'm fighting are getting better, and I like to test myself. You know what I mean? So that's another reason why I'm in the game for as well.
It's good to see that a fighter that still wants to test himself because I think nowadays you find too many people trying to look after the records and they don't want to
Of
fight the
course they
tough
do.
fights.
Nah, that's why I see this game here. This I feel like I've got professional boxing sussed out in my own nut. You know what I mean? There's a lot of I call them Instagram boxers. So they get a lot of hype. They're good at selling themselves. So they're a 10 out of 10 for selling themselves, but they're a 5 or 6 out of 10 for fighting. Not even six, probably a 4 or 5 out of 10 for fighting. But they're so good at basically lying to the people and doing the pads and looking good, that they get guided in a certain way. Then as soon as they get these step ups, they get found out. So they can earn a bit of money because they're like the in thing. And then when they step up, they get done, they get forgotten about. You know what I mean? But I'm playing the long game. I'm playing the long game because I feel like it matches my personality. I feel like sort of like Terence Crawford. Um, he went through his career doing what he had to do, picking up titles, doing his thing, and only towards the end of his career he earned all the money and got the real recognition that he probably deserved years ago. Do you know what I mean? And that's only because he won a loudmouth, really.
Well, I think
So I feel,
that's it. I think if you, like you said, if you plod on and do your thing and go forward, I think if someone reaches the end of their career and they've had a good record, but they've never fought anyone, what does it mean at all?
yeah, what does it
But
mean?
but
Yeah, it doesn't mean.
if you
Yeah,
go through and you've had like not so good a record, but you've fought the top contenders, you're
yeah.
gonna get recognised more for fighting people.
Well, if you look at that now, a good example of that is Conor Walker. You think he's boxed He's boxed at a really good level, boxed from really good kids. He's not won every fight, but he's on a where he's lost, come back, keeps winning. Then he fought Crocker, which I thought he beat Crocker. Do you know what I mean? But he was written off for that fight. He's fought Pat McCormack again, written off, beat Pat McCormack. People like that, you know what I mean? People can get behind that, you know. And when he's finished with his career, he's going to look back at it and be so happy that he's boxed all these people and obviously won. And even when he's lost, it's not defined him. And he's come back and look how his career's going now. Do you know what I mean? So that's so much better than fighting fucking 20 divs and being 20-0, ain't it? Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
So
We ask this to everyone. What do you think boxing gives you, especially the youth coming through?
it gives you discipline. It gives you so much discipline and manners and respect. And it's crazy because you think of boxers, we're not like, I don't know, we're all quite tough. We all love fighting. They all come from different backgrounds, and it's like a poor man's sport. You know what I mean? So there's a mix of all different sort of backgrounds in boxing. So your initial thoughts of boxing is like, oh, they're a bit chavvy, or they're a bit, you know what I mean? It's a bit rough and ready or whatever. But we're going to a boxing gym from a young age. It installs discipline, manners, everything that you could want, respect. Do you know what I mean? I used to be, obviously I started boxing when I was young, but when I was like really young, I would be quite hot-headed and we'd be playing football and I'd be fighting and things like that. Do you know what I mean? And as I've got older now, through boxing, it's calmed me down like completely. I'm a completely different person. I don't lash out. I don't get angry. I'm not in. You know what I mean? It's mad. Like I feel like that's what boxing can bring.
Brilliant. I know you've got your hands full, I can hear in the background, so we
Yeah, she's
won't
just woke up. She's just woke up. That's all right. No, she's all right. You're a good girl, aren't you? She's all right. She's sweet.
we won't keep you any longer though. But I want to wish you all the best going forward and hope keep doing what you're
Thank you, dude.
doing, and them titles will
Yeah,
come.
that's it. I appreciate it, mate. And hopefully get some big fight news dropping. I don't know when, but hopefully as soon as possible. Do you know what I mean? And then yeah, just keep climbing up the ladder really and doing my thing.
Definitely. Ladies and gentlemen, Elliot Whale, make sure you follow him, give him a look out.
Yeah, man. Thanks for the interview as well. Appreciate it, mate.